The morning of Sunday, November 13th, 2022, should have been a lazy Sunday morning for Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. After spending the evening of November 12th and early hours of the 13th out having fun, both in celebration and anticipation of the upcoming Thanksgiving break, but it wasn't. In the early morning hours of November 13th, between 3 and 4 a.m., an unknown individual entered the residence at 1122 King Road, and in the most cowardly and brutal way ended the lives of those 4 University of Idaho students. The weight created by their loss has had a ripple effect, first crashing into their loved ones and then vibrating out across the nation. Before we begin discussing the case, I think it's important to honor the victims and try to get a glimpse of who they were. It's clear to me from researching this case that not only have the family and friends of these 4 suffered a catastrophic loss, but so have we as a society. They each had so much to offer, and there is no telling how much good they would have brought to the world and how many more people they would have touched. In statements written by their families, please join me in remembering Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Madison Mogen was born on May 25, 2001 in Eugene, Oregon. Her life from day one has been a blessing to her family and all that surround her. Maddie spent her first 2 years of life in Oregon and then moved back with her family to the North Idaho area her parents grew up in. Back in Idaho, she went on to have a wonderful childhood. She attended Winton Elementary, then went on to join the Coeur d'Alene Charter Academy until she made the decision, after writing a very decisive letter with Kaylee to their parents, of the reasons to enroll in LCHS where she would graduate. To say Maddie is loved by all is an understatement. Maddie was known for her ability to make others smile and laugh with her offbeat and hilarious sense of humor, and it was well known by all who knew her to never let her get hungry. Maddie was also admired for her focus and dedication to her future. She excelled in school and all jobs she worked at throughout high school and college, amassing a network of friends, colleagues, supervisors, and teachers who would not hesitate to give her an amazing reference and remark on how wonderful she was, how hard she worked, and how much she cared. Maddie was so excited to attend the University of Idaho, a little far from home, but not too far. Once there, Maddie made the dean's list every semester. She joined Pi Beta Phi and met some of her closest friends, all the while having her sister Kaylee close by and the love of her life, Jake. We will think of her forever surrounded by pink sparkly things that are tiny and cute, because that's exactly how we picture Maddie. We are comforted by the fact that Maddie is forever encircled in her Grandma Ruth's arms in heaven.
Maddie has truly been a blessing in our lives. Watching her grow and mature into the amazing woman she become is truly priceless in our hearts. She was the world to us. Maddie was such an easygoing, loving child growing up. She was patient and relaxed toddler most of the time. And as a teenager, she didn't really give us many worries or trouble. Anyone who knows our family knows that we're Steelers fans. I know. Favorite memory for me was watching the game with her, and every time the Steelers scored, I'd pick her up, and I'd hold her high in the air, and we'd celebrate together. And she'd always just laugh so hard at that. We'd just crack up and have a great time Uh, she loved the water. She always looked forward to going boating and fishing with her papa, her Uncle Dave, and Aunt Nadine. She loved going on the boat with her friends and her boyfriend Jake, and we hardly ever saw her during the summer for the most part. Maddie was always inquisitive, curious, and eager to learn about everyone and everything. She absolutely loved younger children in her life, adored all animals, and never said no to any type of family gathering. Maddie loved to travel, especially with her best friend Kaylee and her family. They were both in love with life and exploring. That's why they hit it off so well when they met. They were inseparable from the 6th grade on. They were truly sisters, and our families grew bigger and better from that. The two of them were a force not to be reckoned with. They stuck together through everything. Maddie had such a bright future, as all these kids did. The world is a darker place without them, but the light of their love and memories will always guide us all. Thank you all for joining us in this celebration of life of these beautiful souls. We love you, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. Thank you.
Kaylee Goncalves was born in Concord, California on June 8, 2001. Even before her birth, Kaylee was fire and life. Steve and Christy's third child, she was wild and different. She was born with black, thick curls, the cutest button nose, and a perfectly round porcelain face marked with a tiny scar on her forehead that even the doctors couldn't quite explain. Much to her dismay later in life, her siblings would tease her. That's where the horns tried to grow in. Christy and Steve continued on to have 2 more girls, making Kaylee the middle child of 5. Around the age of 1, Kaylee and the family moved to North Idaho, where she continued to blossom into the most beautiful, authentic, social, and funny person we had all ever met. She loved Claire's and fashion and accessories and doing whatever she could to get a laugh out of those around her. Kaylee went to Bora Elementary with her older brother and sister before moving on to Charter Academy for middle school, where she and Maddie Mogen found one another. After that day, we were no longer a family of 5 siblings, we were 6. After much convincing of her parents, Kaylee went to Lake City High School before attending the University of Idaho with Maddie. She joined the Alpha Phi sorority and was studying to become an elementary school teacher. Throughout all her years of education, Kaylee maintained incredible grades and made friends wherever she went. She was social, quirky, contagious, and a little bit of a goofball. Sorry, Kaylee, it's true. She loved to play pranks on friends and family constantly. She loved adventure. She was a hard worker, always having a full-time job on top of her studies, even in high school. Kaylee loved the nicer things in life and took a lot of pride in buying those things for herself. She was strong. She was fair. She was tough. She was dedicated. She was beautiful. She was. She was and she is love. She came into the world surrounded by family and love and left the same way with her chosen sister, Maddie Mogen, by her side.
Goncalves family. We got Jack up here, and I want to thank Xana's family for putting this together. I didn't have to pick up the phone. I didn't have to write an email. I didn't have to do anything. And I know that an event like this large with all these things took a lot of people, and they volunteered their time. And we want to thank who you know if you were a part of this. I can't say everyone by name, but I want to thank you. We're going to say a couple stories about our girls and help you guys understand how much we love them and how we miss them, and how we hope this community can get strong and heal, and mainly just understand what we lost and how much the world has lost with these two girls and these other 3 girls in Zion and Nathan. All right, my wife will read a poem that she had on her page, Kaylee, and here you go.
He came across this going through Kaylee's stuff. It's called Milk and Honey.
Most important is love, like it's the only thing you know how. At the end of the day, all of this means nothing. This page, where we're sitting, your degree, your job, the money, nothing even matters except love and human connection. You, who you love, and how deeply you love them, how you touch the people around you, and how much you give them. Reflection was getting me.
Kaylee was our middle child out of 5. She was always competitive. She was smack dab middle, so Stephen and Olivia were a little bit older. Autumn and Aubrey were a little bit younger, so she kind of had to figure out where to fit in, and she definitely did. There was never a day that she didn't want to race her brother because she was just determined that girls were faster than boys, or that she didn't want to go bug her little sisters and make sure they knew that she was older and they were the little sisters. Kaylee is a huge part of our family. The dynamics of our family will never be the same. We know this is God's will. It's hard to accept. But she was a beautiful girl. She started junior high with Maddie, as you all knew, and our family became 6 very quickly. There was a lot of friends throughout this family that came and gone and went and whatever, and we're still friends, but we don't see him that much. That wasn't Maddie. Maddie and Kaylee were by each other's sides every day. They went to other countries together. Karen took them to Hawaii together. We took them to Mexico together. They went to college together. They went to high school together. They lived in their own apartment together. They were sisters. She was one of ours. And we're just heartbroken. And we know it's just going to take time for everybody to heal. If that's possible. I just pray that it is. Thank you, everybody.
You guys want to say anything? We're going to share just a little bit of a story so you could understand how Kaylee was. My father, who also passed away this year, he's that guy that sits in the lazy boy chair and has the controller and owns the room. Well, when he wasn't looking, he'd go probably get himself a beer or something, and Kaylee would grab his controller and pull the batteries out of it and go hide them.
Like 2 years old, like 2 or 3 years old, little.
Yeah, she was 2 years, 3 years old. My dad would rant and rave that somebody was hiding the batteries, and we just thought he was kind of losing his mind because it was happened like 4 or 5 different times, and Kaylee would just sit on the couch with a big grin on her face and just watch what my dad would do and how upset he would get. And I believe that's around the time that my dad named her K-Bug.
Bug us.
Because she bugs everyone. And it stuck because it was appropriate. she wasn't perfect. She was our little girl. She was ornery, and we loved her for that. You know, it was okay that was her signature, and nobody tried to change her.
Another thing, similar to the battery story, back in the day when we had cordless phones, 3 or 4 throughout your house, going to my sister's, her favorite thing to do was to throw them in the toilet. So she would tell me, Christy, Kaylee threw the phones in the toilet again. I'm like, I'm sorry, sissy. I'm sorry. Can we dry it out? Is it done? Was it clean water? I don't know how many phones I had to replace because for whatever reason, she would throw those cordless phones in the toilet.
All right. I think that's everything. Is that
Olivia?
everything? You want to say something?
Oh gosh, so I'm Olivia. I don't even know if I need this mic. I have a loud voice. I apologize. I'm Kaylee's older sister. And I mean, everyone's kind of said it. She was kind of a pain in our butts, but she was our pain in the butt, and we loved her. But one story that I, for whatever reason, thought about when I walked up here, and I haven't thought about in a long time, was one time my sister came to me and she said, Olivia, I think I got something stuck up my nose. And I said, whatever, what do you mean you have something stuck up your nose? She said, I feel like there's something stuck up there. So I go and I press on her nose, and there's a really hard lump in there. So I'm like, we're going to have to go talk to Mom. This is serious. So we take her up to Mom, and sure enough, she had a bead stuck up there. So we wind up going over to our aunt's house, Aunt Tammy, to kind of try to fish out this bead, and eventually we get it out, and we ask her, we say, Kaylee, how did you get that bead up your nose? And she goes, I don't know. It must have popped up there when I fell off the bed. And I don't know why I thought of that story. I don't know what it says about her, but that was one of my favorite stories of Kaylee.
She was a turd. That's what it means.
So, along the lines of her poem, I just want to tell everyone, if you can learn from our disaster that we're all working through together, you really have to just take care of each other. You got to reach out and hug people, make yourself uncomfortable, and just be part of the healing, and take advantage of every opportunity that you can tell your child that you love them. And don't let them walk out that door without giving them a hug, even if they're annoyed and they don't want you and you're embarrassing. Just say, I'll hug you longer if you just don't get this over with. So if that's, it's going to take that. This community is going to help us. We all know that we can't do it alone. And I thank you guys all for here and starting that process right here in our own little community. Thank you, guys.
Xana Kernodle was born in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at Kootenai Health Hospital on July 5, 2002. Xana grew up in Post Falls and was a talented gymnast as a child. She attended Post Falls Middle and High School, where she played volleyball, track, and soccer until she graduated in 2020. During high school, she worked at Texas Roadhouse and went on to attend the University of Idaho, where she majored in marketing and was an active member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority and the Vandal Solutions sales team. When she wasn't participating in these activities, she was working at her part-time job at the Mad Greek restaurant in Moscow, Idaho. Xana loved her dog, Shoeshine, enjoyed EDM music, going to concerts, spending time with her friends, and going on family trips with her sister and father. When she was little, she loved spending time on her grandma and grandpa's farm and summers at the river. Xana was someone who was loved dearly by her family, friends, and classmates. She was a very positive and outgoing person who went out of her way to make everyone feel welcome. Her desire to live life to the fullest and contagious sense of humor has made a lasting impression on all those who knew her. Xana was just starting to become the woman she was destined to be, and the world will be a lesser place without her.
Kaylee and Madison. Xana was such a light in my life and so many others. She was the person I could relate to the most, and she knew and understood me more than anyone. Losing her is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, and it has left me heartbroken. Xana was the funniest person I knew and made me laugh every time I spent time with her. I have so many memories and stories I could share about her, but I know remembering the times I had with her brings me so much joy and happiness. Everyone thought we were twins growing up, and I remember in some of our last moments together, we were in her room laughing in the mirror because neither of us thought we looked alike, and her friends just laughed. She was my baby sister, but she was so much wiser and experienced so much more in life than I ever have. She never let an opportunity pass her by and enjoyed all the moments she had. She was always doing something fun, and in any situation, it was always so much more fun with Xana there. I remember I would get so mad because I always thought my friends liked her more than me, but she was a person that everyone enjoyed being around. She was so positive and lighthearted and understood the gift of life more than anyone I know. I remember her getting so mad at me for caring about the little things that didn't matter. She would always tell me she wouldn't know what to do without me, and now I have to live this life without her. I know she would want me to cherish the times I have with the people I love. She would want me to make the most out of every situation. She would want me to have fun, continue my journey in life, and constantly tell people how much I love them and they mean to me. I remember going to hang out with her about a couple months ago. I remember telling her that we should try to do a sister date every week to spend more time with each other before I graduate. I remember her loving the idea, and her friend Ella reached out to me and told me that Xana was so happy that we were going to start doing that. I love her so much, and I wish I would have spent more time with her and had the chance to continue spending time with her. I know she loved living in her house in Moscow with her friends. I would hear so many stories about her and her roommates, and it made me so happy to know she had such great friendships. She really knew everyone and was friends with everyone. She had the best friend group and had friends in so many different sororities, fraternities, and organizations. I was so happy she was dating Ethan, and Ethan was such an amazing person. Xana never had a boyfriend before, and my dad and I wondered if she was ever going to get one. Ethan was that special, though, because I know she was picky with boys. They were always so happy, and the way she would talk and smile about him was something I've never seen her do before. She truly loved him so much, and I know he had so much love for her. They had something so special, and everyone around them knew. It's comforting to know that they're all watching down on us from heaven now. Casey Johnson is a best friend of ours, and her mother, Susie Graham, was like a mom to us. Susie had a long fight with breast cancer and unfortunately passed away last year. Casey texted me a couple weeks ago saying, "I know Xana isn't alone up there in heaven. I feel my mom in the sunshine, and yesterday the sun went through my window and fell right on her urn. I think that's her way of telling me that she's got Xana and that she's made it up there to heaven." That gave me a little bit of peace, and I want to share that with you. This text made me so happy and helped comfort me a lot. I know they are all in the best place together, and one day we will all be reconnected. I am so thankful for faith, friendships, and family through this and everything else. Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love. I hope I can make you proud and try to leave an impact on this world and on people like you did. I love you so much, Xana, and I hope you're feeling the most happy, content, and loved in heaven right now.
Well, I'm Jeff and Xana's dad, and I think that Jasmine pretty much said it all, and everything that needs to be said, except for, we're going to miss her. We're going to miss her more than anybody knows, and I know a lot of you people, the ones that know her, are going to be right there with us. It's going to be a tough road. That kid was just, she shone light to the day when you see her. And she taught me a lot of stuff. She taught me how to be a dad. And I didn't know that until she was gone, It's like, Xana, you taught me something. I didn't know that. She's like, it became the woman that she was going to become the last weekend I saw her, which was a week before that, she was taking care of the house. She was taking care of things. She took my keys from me, said, "You had too much to drink, Dad. You can't drive. We'll get you a ride to your hotel." She was being the mom to all the kids and the girls, and I was really happy to see her there happy. And that's what I remember that weekend, is her being happy with the other girls, taking care of stuff. The house was beautiful, taking care of everybody. Everything was just about as good as it ever could have been in my picture as a parent. What it was going on in U of I, good grades. So I can remember that. Doesn't make it better, but it makes it a little bit easier. To know that it wasn't like it was there was issues, because there was or wasn't. We'll never know, So, anyways, that's all I got, and thanks everybody for coming. And we're good.
Ethan Chapin. Ethan, a triplet, was born first at 4:43 p.m. on a beautiful Tuesday evening in October. He was born at Swedish Hospital in Seattle. Maisie arrived shortly after at 4:44, and Hunter at 4:45. Our family spent the first year and a half living in Olympia at Summit Lake, and then we moved to Conway. The kids attended Conway School, where they got a great education and also played soccer, basketball, and ran cross country. One of Ethan's greatest moments was on the basketball court with his brother at Conway wearing jersey number 30. Ethan attended Mount Vernon High School. His school was cut short by COVID, so Ethan and his siblings packed up and headed to Idaho, where they went to work at the Hills Resort. They went back to Mount Vernon to start their senior year at MVHS, but school was still not in session. They worked at Tulip Town through the tulip season and then headed back to Idaho to continue working at Hills Resort during the summer just prior to attending the University of Idaho. In August 2021, our family made the journey to the University of Idaho to drop off all three of our kiddos at college. The boys, both Ethan and Hunter, joined a fraternity of Sigma Chi, and Maisie joined Kappa Alpha Theta sorority. Since attending the University of Idaho, Ethan lived his best life. He loved the social life, intramurals, and tolerated the academics. He also continued to play sports. We were all very fortunate to play golf with him all this last summer. If he wasn't on the golf course or working, you could usually find him surfing, playing sand volleyball, or pickleball. Ethan loved life. He laughed continuously. He smiled when he woke up and was still smiling when he went to bed. He was kind to all and a friend to all. May we all try to make the earth a better place, and may we all live like Ethan.
And as a family, as a Chapin family, it's important that we share Ethan's legacy and talk about the impact that he made in his young 20 years, or his short 20 years. So this is where we choose to focus our energy, because we are now Ethan's voice. What I want you to know is that our family is no different than probably all of your families. We sat at the dinner table when time permitted. We played games together. We traveled. We hauled our kids to every sporting event imaginable. We had cribbage tournaments, pickleball competitions, and basketball shooting contests. We surfed and spent countless hours in our boat listening to country music, which was Ethan's most favorite thing in the whole world. We hiked. Typically, the kids did that reluctantly, I'll admit. We worked out. Our three kids even got their wisdom teeth pulled together. But the most important thing is that in our family, we always had each other's backs, and we will continue to do so. And for all of the things that I've listed and the times that I haven't mentioned, we are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. And I want to remind you That's the most important message that we have for you and your families, is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back. It's really important. This is our message to you. It is really important that all you kids and all kids across wherever, even we've told this to our own 2 kids who are still vandals, you have to put your energy back into achieving your goals. Well, Ethan tolerated school. For those of you guys who knew him really well, he tolerated school. He loved the social life, tolerated class. He understood the importance and would want all of you to continue to focus on your futures and your ambitions.
Xana, Kernodle. Ethan, Chapin. Kaylee, Goncalves. Madison, Mogen.